Hey there, fellow entrepreneurs. I'm Sue, and you've just stepped into Entrepreneurs Gone Wild. Every week, I'll introduce you to a friend of mine, a remarkable entrepreneur who's not just changing the world, but also harnessing a secret weapon, time outdoors. Together, we'll dive into their journey, unpack invaluable business advice, and discover why embracing the wild is not just good for the soul, but also a goldmine for inspiration and innovation. Ready to uncover the secret that's boosting bottom lines and fueling joy? Hit subscribe and join us in the wild.
Guys, this is going to be so fun. Today's guest is someone who knows exactly what it feels like to be buried under the never-ending pile of back-end chaos, and who, more importantly, knows how to escape it. And she's going to talk about that a little bit. This is Jennifer Bennett. She's the founder of Get Desky. And here's where it gets really good. She helps entrepreneurs and thought leaders get out of the weeds and back into their zone of genius through a mix of done-for-you stuff, done-with-you stuff. And Jennifer and her team help business owners simplify their systems, streamline their operations, and finally delegate without stress. She's here because she's passionate about turning hard-earned experience into freedom for others and showing us that you can scale your business without losing your freaking mind, or your time, or your weekends, or, well, all the other things. She's also a super connector, and I have the privilege of working with her at First Class Business, and this is going to be really fun. She's got something very, very exciting going on. Okay, I'm going to breathe now, but Jennifer, welcome to Entrepreneurs Gone Wild. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me, Sue. I'm so excited for our conversation today. I have no idea where this is going to go, but I can already tell, like, it's going to go in so many directions and it's going to help so many people.
I agree already, 100%. This is going to be so cool. All right, the first and only question that I ever have scripted is the one we're going to start with, which is, who do you serve? What problem do you help them solve?
I help thought leaders and entrepreneurs amplify their impact by getting them out of the weeds of systems and processes.
We do tend to get ourselves in those weeds, don't we? Like, help, I'm lost. I have no GPS. I'm going to die out here.
Yep.
Oh, man. All right. So what does that look like when you're working with somebody? Just what's it like?
It looks like a variety of things, but the vast majority of people that come in and they start this thing and they know how to help people, but they don't know how to build a system. They don't know what our process is. They don't understand that how they do things and how they get people into their offers, or how they build their offers, or all these different things like that. Those are all systems. Those are all processes. And if you're going to grow, you're going to scale, you have to have help. And one of the best explanations that I've ever given to somebody is, think of, you have a bowl of spaghetti. Okay, you have all these noodles and they're all inside of here. And you've got so many things that you keep putting in here. But if you take that bowl and I hand it to you and I say, hey, now this is your bowl, they're going to look at this and they're going to be like, what is this? And so you're giving them your fire, which is fine. But you really have to go and you have to pull them out one by one and make straight lines so that they understand, okay, if Jen connects with somebody on Facebook, the next thing that she wants to do is tell them, hey, I love connecting with other entrepreneurs and I want to have a chat with you. I don't want to sell you anything. I don't want to do anything other than have a call with you. And you have to be able to tell them, well, what do those people look like? What do their profiles look like? All these different things. And you have to be able to tell them from one side of the spaghetti string all the way to the other so that they know what success looks like. And a lot of the times those people, they know it in their heart, they already know it in their minds, but they can't articulate it. And then they can't take it from putting it on paper and then putting it into a tool like a CRM to be able to say, hey, now they're on my calendar. How do I want to follow up with them? Do I want to send them a newsletter? How do I want the newsletter to look? And different things like that. And so it really is a system where they have to be able to take these spaghetti strings and string them out so that people can help them.
Like, my mind is already just blown. So, like, because I think probably most of your clients are the same way, where they're good at some parts of this, right? Like I can throw all these spaghettis in the bowl, no problem, but oh my goodness. And trying to explain it to anybody from point A to point B of that the beautiful piece of pasta, is something gets lost or broken, or oh my gosh, or way too much spice on this one and this one didn't get any sauce.
Right.
Oh, that is
Right.
so great. Oh my gosh. That's like, so, and I know a lot of entrepreneurs kind of came online back when I did 2005. So, Rich Dad Poor Dad was out. 4-Hour Work Week came out after this. Like we were in this weird, I'm like the Gen X of business. People do. We were just like, good luck, go on your own, figure it out, right? And hustle,
Right.
hustle, but everything else you're gonna figure it out. No systems whatsoever. You would do something that accidentally worked and totally forget about it, never do it again. Have all these contacts that you're making and never follow up, even though you had great conversations, because again, no systems. Is this the kind of person that is coming to you going, Jennifer, please help me?
Yes, they are. And because there are so many people, there's like 8 billion people in the world, and there are so many amazing souls on this planet. And we have this way of when we start becoming aware of how we really need to help people and who we're called to serve, that they just start coming to us. We start attracting them, especially when we've done the inner work. And this is something that we talked about last time. When we've done the inner work, people just start coming to you and they're like, hey, they may be like, I'm not 100% sure how we're supposed to be here, but we're here and we're going to figure it out. And then as you go along, you're like, oh my gosh, like I have this contact list of all these people. How do I keep my sanity? And so there are tools, there's systems, there's ways that you can do that. One of the ways that I do is when I connect with people at events, I have a process in place of how I follow up with people, when I follow up with people, what should my team be saying, depending on the conversations, what are we going to be doing with these people? And so it allows me to be able to be my best self, because I can go to an event and I can meet people and people are like, oh my gosh, like you're still following up with me, and we met like 4 years ago. And I was like, I know, right? That's crazy.
It's crazy. And how many people, like, just give me a general idea, how many people are we talking? Because I can do that with maybe 4.
So I have, if I'm counting and I'm going through it, and this is a really great question, because this is going to segue into my retreat that I have. I was going through my Facebook to send messages out to about 60 people, and roughly at least 300 or 400 of them, I know that I've had more than one conversation with them, and I've touched them at least already twice in 2025.
Oh my goodness. So I think normal people who don't know how to do this or don't have a system or a team, they might have 200 people. They might have had a contact at some point and, last contact 2013. Are they still alive? Do they think I'm dead?
Right.
Oh, we need you. Like, oh gosh. Oh my gosh. This is, folks, everybody out there, pay attention. All right. So people come in, they could be your client through Get Desky.
Right.
What does that look like?
So coming in for Get Desky. So Get Desky itself has a few different offers. So we have the Inner Circle, where you can come in and learn with other entrepreneurs that are building or have built, and they're building that next part. Or we can help you do some part of it, or we can take it over for you. So the vast majority of people come in and want to learn, and then they realize really quickly that they really don't need to be learning, or it's not really something they should be doing. And we will take it off for them. And we do that in a variety of ways. So we have multiple different things that we can do for them. A lot of it revolves around CRMs and things like that. Some of them want us to do social media management, but the vast majority of them want us to do their CRM, um, and things like that. So we really do stay in the background a lot of the times.
That is so cool. I love that. I know that there are businesses out there doing that. Like, I mean, that use, use a team to do that. And I'm like, that makes sense, because trying to do it, you touched on it perfectly. Like, learning how to do it, that's going to take some energy, because if you already knew, you'd be doing it, right? And then you reach that point where I know I've had that same thing where I've taught writing stuff and people are like, can I just pay you to do this? I don't want to do this. This is not my zone of genius. It's not. I love the people, but oh my gosh, I don't have the bandwidth to take on one more task. That's probably, yeah, I could see where that would go very quickly away from teach me to please just do it. I'll pay you.
Yep. Yep.
That's amazing. All right, so Inner Circle, that's really cool.
Mhm.
Tell me about this retreat you've got going.
Oh my gosh. So it's in Colorado. It's in the mountains. This beautiful house that sleeps like 25 people. And one of the superpowers that I have is I am a super connector. Not only do people just connect with me, but I have this ability to be able to know who people need to be connected with. And so I had been trying to figure out, like, how can I best utilize this skill on a high level? And that is the question that I had been asking myself since January, since the beginning of this year. And I toyed around with a whole lot of ideas and nothing really came through. And so I was like, why don't I just host an event that's not a workshop? It's not a networking. It's not like sit in a room and like listen to a whole bunch of other people talk all day. Let's get them in a space where we can intentionally have experiences that are going to connect people and build those relationships or make them stronger. And when I found this place in Colorado, I was like, hell yes, this is it. I love it. We're doing it. And so from the time that I found the place till the time that I did the offer was 48 hours.
Oh, I love a fast action girl. This is so great. I love it. You mean you didn't wait and stew and then think and then write it and
No.
then rewrite it and then,
No,
Just did it.
I talked to 4 different people. So I talked to 4 different people that are coaches and mentors that I have. And they really helped me be clear on what the offer is, what it's not. And I was able to launch it within 48 hours of having this. I created a budget around it. I used ChatGPT to help me create the budget because I'm not a numbers girl. I'm a people girl, not a numbers girl.
Gotcha.
That's what my co-founder, my mom, is for. She does all that. So she was like asking me like all the numbers and I like super padded it. So that way, like we could finagle on the backside to make sure that everything's going to look good. And yeah, I'm like super excited. Like I sent you the picture. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. And I'm going in the middle of summer where it's excruciatingly hot here in Texas and it's not going to be as hot in Colorado. So I'm doubly stoked about that.
Yeah. So cool. I'm so excited. All right. So you can fit, all right, sleeps 25. How many are you, is that like triple people in a bed?
There's only 15 spots.
Oh my. All right. So this is going to go live the first Friday in May. You may have
actually it's live as of recording.
No. I mean like my like this episode is going to go first Friday in May. So, they may be gone. If you're hearing this, you better do like if you're like, "Oh my gosh, I need to do it." You better take some action very, very quickly because you might already be too late. But I suspect if it goes really well, you'll probably do it again, right?
If the demand is there.
If you know it will be. All right, are you gonna so what can they expect? Are you gonna be like, hey, we're gonna go climb a mountain, we're gonna go like, is there activity, like what's on the agenda?
I'm not sharing the activities.
Oh, but there will be
Not sharing, there will be activities, they will be group activities, and they
Nice.
will be very intentional to create and foster relationships.
Ooh, I love it.
but I'm not sharing what they are.
Oh, that's totally cool. Sometimes you have to have that surprise factor because, it'll just like people show up like they're going to show up then. And that's really cool, usually. It could be not.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, the activities are going to be a surprise. Not even my coach that was helping me create the offer knows what they are. So
wow.
It's going to be really fun.
I'm dying to know. That's so cool. Oh my gosh. All right. Now, were you a born connector? You might be. Or did this kind of come, what is it? The saying about some of us are born to greatness, others have greatness thrust upon us. For the super connecting, which way did that go?
Both, actually. So the reason that I say that is because my grandmother was an entrepreneur. She owned businesses before women had the right to be able to do that. And my parents were entrepreneurs as well. They still are. And so it was both a learned skill and by birthright. I have a lot of business owners in my family as well. So it kind of like I was born into it to kind of learn whether I liked it or not.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty cool. And then did you go, I believe you have, but I don't want to assume, you've probably gone through considerable personal development stuff.
Yes, I've gone through a lot of personal development in many different phases. Some of the early years I rodeoed, and to have that, working with animals on some scale, you have to have, there's character building with animals, especially horses. And then about 2 years ago, I was like, okay, it was fine. But then all of a sudden I was like, okay, there's a lot more. And so I really dug deep into what really lights my fire and what brings me the joy to be able to contribute to others and, be able to have the energy projections that I have, and what gives me that energy, and where do I not need to have it? Where do I need to have it? And so this is about 2 years into that for me, of asking myself these questions, like, what if I end today, like, what am I going to be excited about? For right now, I'm going to be excited about that halfway through, today, I'm going to be 10 people into my list of 60 people for me inviting for this, because I have 60 people that I want to invite, and I know that not everybody's going to be able to go, so I have to be able to invite more than I know. And so, I know that will make it a good day. Yeah. because I've went through at least a third of those people today.
That's amazing. Now you're doing alphabetic. I'm curious, like when you have 60 where you're like, they're all potential. Yeah. Like, heck yeah. Yes. Yeah, I'm going. So how do you start? Like, are you going alphabetically? How are you, this is just a matter literally of the first 15 who say yes.
It literally is the first 15 who say I'm in. So because I have so many people on my socials, I literally went through my list of followers and I was like, oh, this person, not this one. And so I literally did that until I got to 60.
That's amazing. This is going to be so cool. So I talk a lot with, potential hosts of retreats and stuff. And the biggest concern that they typically have, whether they say it or not, is, can I fill this darn thing? Because holding an event, an in-person event that you travel to and all that, there's some costs, and it's more than anything, it's the time for planning, all this kind of stuff. And they get nervous about that. So I think I'm going to start sending them to you to learn, or have your team do the thing so that they have that this is just one more great argument for building an actual audience, not just people who are kind of watching from afar, but people you're actually interacting with and building those connections. That's beautiful. Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
So
and people really downplay the building your audience part, because so many people want to get to the offer part, and they want to get to the sales part, and they want to get to all these other parts that are very, very much important. But if you don't build the relationship and you don't take the time to make sure that this could be for these people, you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
So when I say that I'm going through my list of people that's on my socials, which I have 3,000 to 5,000 from each one. So think about that for a minute. My socials have been active for a really long time. Some of them since 2009, 2008. So the amount of people that I have on there, and I can go and roughly pick out, because I'm running it on Facebook right now, and pick out 60 people within a couple of hours. Think about the man hours and the manpower that it has taken me to build that audience, to talk to these people and know, okay, this person would be a good fit for this room. This person would not be a good fit for this room. And really what that looks like. So the amount of time that it's taken me to build this audience and know these people, to be able to say that.
Oh yeah.
And it's not anything bad about some of the people that aren't.
No,
it could
but
be
you already know this is a perfect fit for this room, or not so
exactly.
much. No.
Exactly.
This brings up such an important thing too, because so many, a lot of gurus, a lot of mentors, a lot of whatever saying build your audience. I totally get that. I value that. I understand that. But this is way deeper than that. So like this is the craziest thing. I've had 3 videos that have gone viral, like millions of people have watched them, about the homesteading thing. We're doing the whatever. My husband was building our chicken palace, which I called Cluckingham Palace because it's getting fancy, right? And that thing went nuts. 1.5 million viewers. I'm like, this is nuts. That ended up pouring in. I went from normal Facebook numbers, I don't even know what that is, to like 7,000 people following. And I'm like, that's insane. How do I serve them? I don't know. They came for some weird thing that it's not like I'm giving instructions on how to build a chicken house. I mean, it's like, my first concern was, oh no, now they've all been here. I don't think they're staying necessarily. They'll stay by accident. I don't know how to serve them. And not that that's I don't need that solved necessarily, but it did bring to mind, like, there's a massive difference between having an audience and having connections that are meaningful with people. Huge difference. And I don't think a whole lot of people really talk about that.
No, and I have thousands of friends and followers on multiple platforms. And while I do have connection and I do have relationships with some of them, and I've had a couple of reels go viral myself on Instagram, and some of those people are staying as well too. Mine was about like my kids making a mess in the kitchen, so it's pseudo relates, but not really. But it was a lot of parents that follow me that are entrepreneurs.
Right.
What I have found is just sticking to what's true to me, sharing what my truths are, sharing my experiences and how that has shaped where I am and who I became and the processes that I have. The people that do get to connect with me, they already know they want to connect with me.
Right.
And so, yeah, you can have a lot of followers, you can have a lot of fans, but you're not going to be able to serve everybody. But the ones that really do want to say, hey, yeah, like, I'll take your call, Jen. And every single one of those people are like, oh my gosh, where have you been?
Yes. And that's the difference. It's stepping into like an engaged relationship with somebody rather than just like any, like the other stuff is kind of like you have your moment of fame. They used to talk about your 15 minutes of fame, and now it's probably more like 15 seconds based on reels and stuff. And it's like, or the reel, it does, maybe it'll help some, I don't know, maybe it'll bring them, I don't know, but it's the relationship, it's the kind of like how introverts will talk about, it's not that I don't love people, it's just I can't stand the small talk. I want to have deep conversations. You've figured out ways to make more of that, like a deep, engaged conversation. And that's like a whole different thing. That's next level.
Yes. And part of that comes with, always being willing to answer the questions One of my dear friends says it best this way. It's you can be vulnerable without sharing where the bodies are hidden. And so when you really think about that, and someone comes to you and they're earnestly wanting to get to know you, and they have decided that they don't want to use these general questions of like, hi, how are you doing? What do you do? And they want to ask these deep questions, and you're secure enough to be able to say, okay, well, here's the answer. That's when true relationship starts happening, because people can sense when you're being real. They can sense when you're not being real. They know it. Whether they want to admit it or not, they know it. And you're going to attract or repel people depending on that.
Hmm.
The ones that are really aware, we can even sense it in your profiles. We can sense it in your written message. We can sense it in your voice notes. We can sense it in every sense of the way. Like, we don't have to be in the same presence as you be able to know what your intentions are with why you're reaching out to me.
Yeah. Oh, so good. Guys, I hope you're taking notes. This is so good. So good. All right. I always want to know, because it's Entrepreneurs Gone Wild, like, what is the thing that you're doing outside when you get that, massive download, or the spark of inspiration, or, I just solved this challenge, this puzzle, whatever it was? What's that thing for you?
So a lot of entrepreneurs are lonely. So the few things that I do is, one is I phone a friend. If I get exceedingly happy or excited or whatever, for whatever reason, I share it, because so many of the times we talk about the journey, and a lot of people talk about it and they're like, it's lonely. And I wish I would have reached out to my friends more. I wished I would have brought my family in more. I wish I would have told my mentors more of the things that I was doing. So, like I was telling you when I was talking about this retreat, when I got really excited about it and when I found the place, I was messaging my mentors and being like, I found the place, like it's dope, like it's so cool. And I was getting excited because then they were getting excited with me, which then pushes the momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is that I do, like, if I am I use ChatGPT, I do write it down, but I really borrow other people's excitement when I get excited.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I spoke at an event, I was on a women's panel, and one of the people asked about confidence. And one of the things that I do in Get Desky is when my teammates or my team members ask me, well, I'm not really confident in doing this. And I say, well, borrow mine, borrow
Nice.
my confidence. So you can borrow their excitement and your thing to be able to keep you going forward.
I like how you put that. That's huge. All right. Looking for like what's coming next, what do you think, like what's your vision for the long term?
My vision for the long term, there's a few different things. So I love integrating life with entrepreneurship, being a wife, being a mom, being a daughter of entrepreneurs. I take my kids with me to events. I'm speaking at an event in May, and I'm taking my two daughters and my mom, really showing people that you don't have to, like, life isn't in this box. And if you have entrepreneurship, like, you can have all the boxes and they could be this Venn diagram, and it can coexist together. And I also want to be able to get to a spot where I can also give back to young and teen moms. Um, my mom and I were both young moms, and really being able to share to them, is your life going to be different? Yeah. Is it going to be hard? Yeah, but so is being single, and so is not having kids. And really showing them that there are ways that you can do both, and you can do both well.
I love that so much. And I wish you had been, you're too young to have been doing what you're doing back when I was starting, but I wish you had been, and you could have been whispering in my ear, because the whole hustle culture thing, you bring
Don't
your
get me
kids.
started.
Oh, I will. I'm going to. You're bringing your kids, you're bringing your mom. back then, I was in survival mode constantly. I needed to support the family a lot. And it was just like, don't talk to me, I'm trying to work. My kids, I let them go nocturnal during the summer because it gave me a few extra hours to work. I'm like, this is insane.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, we've been able to repair. When they each turned 18, it was kind of like, hey, at this point, we're all volunteers in the relationship. You're not required to do anything for me. Like, this is, if we opt in, we choose in, great. We're gonna have the relationship that we want to co-create, which is wonderful. They both have opted in, thank goodness. And that is grace on their part, because I was making some money, was not making as much as I should have, and certainly not enough to justify the havoc that it wreaked in my life. So I'm thankful that you're out there, that Get Desky, the message that you're bringing, the example that you're setting, that's fantastic. And really, I'm blown away. That's really cool.
And I will be transparent with you. I'm trying to plug in my computer. I will help. My dad really started that. So he builds power plants, even now. And one of the things that he would do a lot is, if we were traveling and we came to see him and executives of the company that he was building a power plant for showed up and they're like, oh, you got to go to dinner. His thing was, he would say, my wife and daughter are coming too. Not can they or should they. It was a straight up, my wife and daughter are coming. And so he was a really great example of being able, even in the 90s, saying, like, my family's coming too, whether you like it or not. This is me, this is what you get, or you can fire me.
Yeah, I love that. That should be the norm, not this garbage that's, I once heard a speaker, and I'm always so tempted to say who. I'm not going to say who. I kind of want to say, I'm not going to do it. But he was saying, basically, I heard him say on stage with my own ears, my own eyeballs going, my mouth going, oh my gosh. And he said, and he was joking, and he was basically saying, you could slit my kids' throats and I'm still working, or something like this. I'm not going to trade my business for that. Like, it was something horrific like that. I should pull up the transcript. Like, I have. It was insane. And this is somebody who gives a lot of business advice and is a major, major presence out there, and is a major influencer for hustle culture. And it's like, oh my goodness, night and day.
And that's why we have the problem we have with entrepreneurs, because they think that they have to hustle 24/7. They think that they have to be fully engaged 24/7 in their business. And that's not really the case. That really isn't what has to happen to be able to do that. Do you have to hustle in a direction? Yes.
Walk with intention.
Yes, you have to be intentional. Like, hustling in the wrong direction or hustling just for the sake of hustling is literally going to kill you.
Yes.
It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Oh yeah.
If you talk to enough entrepreneurs that say, I did it the wrong way, they will tell you. They have literally had some kind of life event where they literally almost died, or they have some kind of chronic illness now because they almost died. They had family members that have died from that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have a good friend, or had a good friend who, same hustle, all this kind of stuff. We used to work events for another friend. We were building websites overnight, and we would build hundreds of websites overnight for the attendees. So they'd wake up in the morning, oh my gosh, here's a site. It was like Oprah, you get a site, everybody gets a site. And so we were the mice in the wheel, several of us would do this. And I saw how this guy showed up. This guy actually went for a vacation, took a sauna, and died in his 40s. And a bunch of us who knew were like, oh my gosh, Mike, that did not have to happen. And it's just gutting, So I just want to salute you and applaud you, like thank you for creating what you're creating through Get Desky. You've got these resources people can use. Join the Earner Circle. See if you can get in on that retreat. I don't know. The odds do not sound like they're in your favor, but give it a shot, man. It'd be worth it. And if you do, oh my gosh, take pictures and send. But also just for leaving this example and for being there for these young moms that you're going to be mentoring, either whether you know them personally, which you probably will because knowing you, or if they're just like following from afar and following your example, you are creating the ripple effect of they're going to be okay, their kids are going to be okay, their kids are going to, this is changing the whole direction of everything for entrepreneurs. So that's all. Yeah. Just changing the whole world of entrepreneurship.
Just change the dynamic. Just change it all up.
That's all. Yeah. It's good work. All right. Where can people find out more about you?
They can find out more about me at socialselling.getdesky.com.
I love it. Thank you so much for being here.
Welcome.